Kevin Durant. Okay? So he slipped in pregame last night. He hurt his ankle, sprained. They get an MRI. Last night would have been his first home game for the Suns, and it's too soon to predict. There's talk now that maybe he'll be out for the rest of the regular season. That was a time for him to gel with Booker and Chris Paul and Eaton, right? Ayton, all those stars with the Suns, and a lot of people feeling good about the Suns. But Olden, we've seen this now. This keeps happening with Kevin Durant. I know we think he's still a young chicken and just in the league. He's 34 years old, but he's been hurt like 3 years in a row? He can't seem to stay healthy. What did you make of it? Obviously, you saw the play, and does this already derail the Suns' chances? Because he'll probably have no playing time with them before the playoffs, or it won't matter if he's healthy.
Well, let me say this first. When I saw it, I honestly, right hand to God, thought it was one of those social media guys doing a sketch. Because I just couldn't believe this is a world-class athlete and this is happening to. And the way he went down, I was like, wait a minute, that's not even real. But then once I realized that that's what happened, it's like, oh, man. But this is what happens, You get in a rut. Not so much a rut. You get in a cycle of injuries because you keep having those injuries. The same thing with Anthony Davis, because these guys have not figured out a way to play through certain things. So now it just becomes routine. Every little thing is going to keep them out. I mean, you sprain your ankle. I get it. I remember spraining my ankle. I beat it on the ground a couple of times, go out to the nightclub, have a few drinks, dance the night away, and come back, no swelling, like nothing ever happened. But that's not the era we're in now. We're in the era of anything and everything happens, they're out. And it's going to keep happening. And it's not going to help their team because they got to have some continuity, some cohesiveness, and I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah, that is the problem, and it's just mind-boggling, to be honest, on where we are. And I think everything is on the side of precaution, of course, because of what he's been through, because of the money that's involved, his long-term health. We saw this a couple years ago, Olden. We've seen 2 examples. Do you remember when they put Anthony Davis out there in that playoff game? Was that against the Suns, or was that against who was that against? They lost, the Suns. You remember he couldn't even walk? Like, he went out there because people kind of shamed him that he wasn't playing, so he suited up. I don't know how long he played. What was that, 5 minutes? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
A couple of years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was against the Suns, like trying to play, and it was obvious he couldn't play. And I remember when Durant went back out there against, was that in the finals, against Toronto, and I remember Chris and I saying, is this crazy that they rushed this guy back out here to play? And, of course, he played in the first quarter and re-injured himself. So I think there's a part of it where you need to be cautious. I hear what you're saying as well, where guys are maybe a little less willing to tough it out, like, say, when you played, right, in your day. People played because you didn't want to lose your spot.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's how it was. You were drafted in 1987 in the NBA. What was that, by the Bulls, right? Chicago
by the Bulls.
But you never played for them and traded to Seattle, right? Yeah. But if Kevin Durant is healthy come postseason, if they just say, well, you're not going to play, let's get you, do you still think they have a chance to come out of the West or even win a championship? They got the roster, at least starting roster. Maybe their bench is thin, but say before the injury, were you feeling the Suns?
No, I wasn't, because there's so many components that go into it. You get, Durant gets traded middle of the season. Great player, but again, the injury issue is it for me, because I don't think he can hold up the rest of the way. That's just my personal opinion. But at the same time, yes, they have a talented foursome, but that's pretty much it. They had to get rid of some key pieces to get Kevin Durant. And so to me, you need time to gel. People think it happens overnight. It never happens overnight. I don't care who you are. It takes time because guys got to know your sweet spot. Guys got to know, certain rotations, certain things, the language that we're using now as far as offensive sets and defensive schemes. So there's so much that goes into it. And so I didn't feel they were going to win even with a healthy Kevin Durant.
Yeah, a lot of people like their talent. You look at it, this team went to the NBA Finals a couple years ago. Remember, they were up 2-0 in that series against Milwaukee before they finally they lost the last four. So people thought you get Kevin Durant, add water, stir, and OP, you got a chance to win a championship.
Yeah, we thought that about Kyrie going to Dallas as well.
That has not worked out, right?
So it's not working. It's not going to work out. Two offensive-minded guys that don't play defense.
And they can't stop anybody.
They can't stop anyone. And that's going to be a situation for Phoenix as well. You gave up a guy that had never missed a game, still hasn't missed a game, okay? And a defensive –
In Bridges, you mean?
Yes, in Mikal Bridges, a defensive-minded guy, but can score, as we've seen now with Brooklyn. And also Cam Johnson. But it's like, hey, his worth was on the defensive end. Now that's completely gone, so that shifts everything around. Now there's a lot of pressure on Ayton to anchor the defense. And we don't know which Ayton we're going to get night in and night out.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, it has put a damper on what, people were excited about. And it's just the history. It's just the NBA now, too. I just can't get over. Olden, I started covering the league. What year were you drafted?
87.
87. That's when I started covering the NBA. 1987. That's how long I've covered the NBA, and I've never remembered this many injuries, this many where it's just mind-boggling. Steph was hurt this year. Every time you turn around, and it's not just anybody, big stars hurt left and right. They have load management. They got 20 masseuses.
Yeah.
They got everything that you would want. Back when you started playing, you used to fly commercial. I flew commercial. I used to sit next to players on planes.
Middle seat.
Yep. And you remember that it was by seniority who got first class seats, not by stardom, if you remember.
Seniority, exactly. But you made the key point, Rob. You said, and the way you said it, you said injury and then you said hurt. And that's where we have to start the conversation. Are you injured or are you hurt? They're two different things. And so to me, that's what guys need to figure out. Not everything should keep you out. I don't care what it is, because at the end of the day, like Steph hurt his leg. I get it. Okay? There was no tear or anything. In the grand scheme of things, if they were in the finals, he would have toughened it out. But but these guys have been playing in the finals, so I give them a pass on that. And Steph has played through some stuff. But a lot of these guys, man, they just going down for any little thing. It's like, ooh, I broke my nail. I'm out 2 weeks. And that's the one I don't like.
No doubt.
I'm not telling people to play with the injuries. That's stupid. But you can play, you can toughen it out through some things.